Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I'm excited to dive into the August energy update. Holy am I ever, because there are some really cool things to talk about. So there are five main points Spirit wants for me to share with all of you, and I'm excited to dive into those. So before I do so, I just want to send you all a little bit of extra energy. And the reason why I say this is because I want to send you all this energy of encouragement, of compassion, and of like a pat on the back for the work that you have been doing. I have to say that first and foremost, because so many people have been trudging through healing traumas, clearing karmas, mending cycles, finishing cycles, taking leaps into the great unknown, if you will, like meeting new aspects of themselves, growing more, opening up and expanding into deeper consciousness. All of those things are included in the act of ascension and awakening. And many of you have been thrust into this the last few years, and that's not an easy thing. Right? We talked about it in the beginning of 2020 when the three guides of the light first came in, and they said many people will be going over the waterfall to churn in the waters below and come out of those churning waters renewed, awakened. I think it's something we never finish, but in a position to really help support the new frequency on the planet. And so this has been a long run, like a marathon, right? 2020 to 2024, like I say so often. We're in the last half of that fourth year right now. So it's been a long haul, and Spirit wants to bring through, as well as, my own eyes witnessing what so many of you are going through and growing through and thriving in. I really want to give you so much credit for being you, for stepping up and becoming your best you. So let's start August off with some of that, because I think we definitely all could use some of that. Now, one of the first things that I really want to bring up here, Spirit wanted to bring up here as well, is acknowledging the ET disclosure, the UAP, UFO, whatever term you want to use, basically the acknowledgement of extraterrestrial races and the fact that the US government has known about this, has kept this under wraps, has been in contact with extraterrestrial races, learned from their craft technology, and also continue to interact with them. Now, the fact that this is all being spoken under oath is a big step in removing the shrouded narrative of secrecy and bringing things to the light. Now, one thing I want to say that's really cool, Spirit, if we go back to the January 2023 update, so the update kind of for the year this year, they did talk about ET disclosure. So I love that that has come to the surface now to kind of validate it for all of us. And it's really neat when those things happen, because it allows for a deeper trust into what the spirit world is bringing. But the other thing I want to say about this ET disclosure is it is so neat to see how so many in the world have reacted like, well, yeah, we've always known this. Because the narrative was always, if we disclose ET races, all of this kind of stuff, humanity's not ready for it, it will unleash pandemonium. However, so many people are at the point in their own consciousness, their own awakening and ascension, to be like, yeah, makes sense. Crazy they were hiding it. And I don't mean to make it so lackadaisical like that. I know for some it is maybe more of a trigger. Others might still choose not to believe it, and that is all okay. But I love that there has been such shift and change on the planet that the perceived response really was not. I think that's fantastic. So again, this disclosure on a tangible level that way, and I want to say, when spoken under oath, it's now written in record that everybody can access. This now really puts us up on this level of moving in the right direction to be a part of the galactic community. And the first thing that's needed to become a part of that galactic community is the understanding that we are part of a galactic community. So that's just why I think it's such a neat thing. So I really wanted to acknowledge that. Now, the second thing, and this was actually one of the first things Spirit brought through about the August energy, is they said, beware of this shift from fear narratives to confusion narratives. And so I was very interested when they said this, and they said that the energy of fear narratives are kind of losing their hold on the planet. They are still tightly wound in some spots for sure, but as a general kind of blanket, there's holes in this blanket basically. And so the next best tactic from those in positions of power that wish to prevent ascension and growth and conscious evolution is to then, if we can't make them afraid, let's confuse them. And so that's kind of like this secondary tactic of, if we muddy the waters enough, they won't be able to see clearly, and then they'll either freeze or be triggered back into fear because they won't know what to do. So confusion is going to be kind of at the forefront right now. Very polarizing ideas that are essentially meant to confuse you. Now, they don't actually have to confuse you, but if you're not aware of it, you can fall into that right away of like, well, I don't know what to do then. I don't know what to think. I don't know. And what Spirit is saying, just like you did with the fear narratives, you turned in to feel the resonance of truth for you. That's the same thing for confusion narratives. Take what you hear, what you see, and feel it within your resonance of truth. Because having gone over the waterfall, like Spirit was talking about, many of you are getting more and more and more clear about what your truth resonance is. What is real to you, and that is what matters. And so we need to continue to measure our reality against the resonance of our truth. And that's what matters, because realities and the concept of reality right now is really shifting. It is very interesting, but it is really shifting. The veil between differing realities is very thin as well. So as we see this growth in this split of 3D to 5D that a lot of people talk about, someone can be living in 5D consciousness, but still observing 3D consciousness around them, but they are still acting from a point of 5D. And so that's the thing that we have to be aware of, is where are you coming from? Because when you measure your truth against the position of where you're coming from, you can interact in that 3D reality from a 5D perspective and still hold your frequency. So again, Spirit's message is, beware of fear narratives shifting into confusion narratives. This is just part of the ascension growth and the breaking down of that kind of shroud or blanket or old frequency, if you want to see it that way. So I think, to be honest, the fact that there are holes in this frequency, the old frequency or the blanket, I think that's a good thing. It is breaking down. That's fantastic. Just like fabric, when it starts to get holes and it starts to break down, eventually it just disintegrates. And I really think that's what humanity is moving through. Now, a second part to that point is the amount of information that I'm getting from Spirit about the trajectory we're on and how we're actually doing an amazing job is significant. I keep getting that over and over and over and over. And I really think it's important to mention that, because there are more positive news stories. There are different people on social media that all they report on is positive things. Here's something positive that happened today. Whatever that may be. 1 million water bottles were taken from the ocean or something like that. There are so many good things happening and good initiatives now coming to the forefront and being created and being released and being built. These are really good things. And so Spirit is saying we are moving in the right direction, and actually quite well. So the things that come up to the surface have to come up to the surface and have to break down. And most of the times we're going to see that. And we're going to perceive that as the negative, but it's actually getting rid of it. It's exposing it to get rid of it. So that doesn't mean everything is, A-okay. However, we're moving in the right direction, and Spirit really wanted to bring that through. They said, kudos to all of you for holding your frequency, growing within the discomfort, and continuing to do so. So I gotta love that. Gotta love that. Okay, the next one is this month, also for August, we have the Lionsgate Gateway. The gateway really is open July 28th to August 12th, but the peak energy is on August 8th, the 8-8. Now, 8s again really represent this energy of abundance, which Spirit has been talking about manifestation like crazy, right? Create what you want, manifest, alignments coming together, all of that. As well, it is, the 8 represents this universal flow of energy, energy in, energy out. What you put out, the universe brings back. All of that plays into it. Now, the Lion's Gate comes from the alignment of the sun being in Leo, the lion, with the star Sirius, which is, of course, the brightest star in our night sky, one of my favorite star systems, and how it aligns with Orion's belt and the Earth. And so it creates this portal gateway. And so during this gateway time, we will see, Spirit is saying, they're calling it an acceleration of things. So whatever it is you're manifesting, you're creating, maybe things that you're ignoring that the universe is wanting you to pay attention to, those things will be accelerated or amplified, if you will, so that you recognize it, work with it, shift it, create it, whatever is needed in that moment. So the Lion's Gate is really significant, and this energy has always been a significant one since ancient times, really, of the power that comes from that alignment. Oftentimes people will call the Sirius star the great central sun. So when it is aligned with our sun, there's like an amplification of that solar consciousness, that light consciousness, light frequency. So there's something really valuable about this time, which leads me into my next point. So it's connected to this Lion's Gate time as well, is the heightened influx of light energy to increase healing for your body and ascension. And so when Spirit told me this, I was like, okay, so increased healing and ascension. And they're like, no, but for the body. There is a big focus on the body this month, your physical body, recognizing the consciousness, the entity-like nature that is your body alone. If you joined me in Cosmic Consciousness just the other week, we talked about how valuable the consciousness of the body is. So we have a mental consciousness, we have a spiritual consciousness, and we have a body consciousness. And together that makes us embodied beings in mind, body, and spirit, right? But we have not fully embraced the magnitude of consciousness that is within our physical bodies. Our cells are these micro ecosystems, and they are interacting with a level of consciousness that is completely unique to carbon-based beings, which is what we're made of. And so this doubled intensity or amplification of solar consciousness, light energy coming to our bodies this month is increasing our our ability to manifest physical healing. So if your body needs physical healing, time spent in the sun, if you're able, is ideal. Again, sun protection is yours to choose in which way you do that. But the frequency coming from our sun this month is significant. And your body can really utilize and drink up. They're showing me right now like a dry sponge to water can completely drink up a ton of solar frequency. And so what that means is that doesn't mean you have to spend hours outside, but it means intentional time spent in the sun. So you may choose to only spend 5 minutes, but you do so every day in the soft morning sun. You stand outside in those sun rays that are just peeking over, and you embrace it and you embody it and you breathe it in, and you're incredibly intentional and present in those 5 minutes every day. That makes a difference. Others of you may choose to just spend more time outside, and that is great too, but it's the conscious knowledge of what you're doing is what is really key. Now, that doesn't mean that those that aren't conscious of what they're doing won't receive healing benefits. They will. The sunlight is shining its light healing benefits on everybody. But for those that choose to bring in that level of conscious intent, it is even more amplified. And this really is on physical healing. So if you have a specific area in your body, a specific sensation or thing that you can direct that healing to, definitely do so. If it is, say, your shoulder and you can expose your shoulder to the sun, then do so. If it's a place that you can't say exposed to the sun, add your intent that the light moving through your face, say, is reaching that area that you wish to have more healing on. So definitely heightened energy. And I want to say in that, when you spend those moments in the sun, you may also notice messages coming through from spirit in some form, from your guides, your healing guides, your higher self, even solar consciousness itself. You may also receive messages in that. And so some of the healing for your physical body could be you standing in that morning sunlight and this information of, increase your water intake today suddenly comes in and you're like, okay, that is also healing for the body. So notice also what insights and information you get in that conscious interaction with the sun. Really beneficial for your body. Really, really beneficial. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is unions and reunions. This has been on the platform, if you will, for the last little while, and I love that they keep bringing it up. The fact that Spirit keeps mentioning unions and reunions are coming in for many people. This is talking about soul groups coming together. This is talking about family, like soul family coming together, divine pairings and counterparts, so that can be soulmates, twin flames, coming together because so many of you have made space for it. You have made space for these beautiful divine pairings to come into be, which are beautiful creation points of something. So here's the thing. If you're like, I haven't been seeing any unions or reunions at all. In fact, everything I see is my world falling apart. I have lost this person, this person, this person, this person. If that's the energy that you're in, know that that is happening because it's making space for better divine pairings in your life. You may be in the process of shedding old frequencies, old relationships that keep you bound in old frequencies that are not where you're at anymore. So if things are falling away, let them fall away, because what's happening is it's making space for these new beautiful unions and in some case reunions to come in. So reunions can be with people from your past in this lifetime who maybe have grown and ascended too, and now the two of you can come together with these beautiful pairings, conversations, creations. Other ones that I really like is Spirit is saying there are a lot of soul reunions happening. So you may be meeting somebody again, business, romantically, whatever it may be, friendship, that you've never met in this lifetime, but when you meet them, you know them. You absolutely know them. These are soul reunions. And so many people are coming upon soul reunions. This is soul family, soul groups coming together. And this is divine timing because many of these soul groups came on this planet to grow and ascend, release karma, shift, awaken their frequency. And at such a point when they hit a frequency, that would trigger the reunions or the coming togethers of these groups. And so that's what's happening. And I love that. I absolutely love that because this is like a beautiful example of how we exist beyond time and space. And there are beautiful, timely destiny points that come into our lives that allow for these beautiful soul reunions that nourish us. So for many of you who've been feeling like you've just been trudging through things, like trudge, and you're like, where are my people? I feel so alone. I would imagine many of you are within that trigger point of the frequency that creates the beacon that brings your soul family together. So that being said, if you're in the crumbling, or the crumbling has just happened, or maybe the crumbling has settled, but you're still feeling a little like, where are my people? Where are you being called to? Where is your heart leading you? If you're suddenly interested in taking a photography course, it could be that one of your soul people is in that photography class. So by you taking it, even if maybe you've never been interested in it before, but suddenly it's on your mind, might be leading you to that soul union. So notice the synchronicities at play, and that's why Spirit keeps talking about synchronicities and alignments, divine alignments, because that's how these things come together. So notice the call of your heart and allow these unions and reunions to come together because they're here so we have more support on the planet as all of these old frequencies are breaking down and we are rising with these new frequencies. So to me, August is a very, very powerful, energetic, bountiful month. It really feels like a a month of bounty, reunions, coming together, healing, acknowledgement, infusion of light. And again, an infusion of light can even bring so much more joy into your world too. So I will leave that with all of you for August. I hope you feel inspired and supported, loved, and that you absolutely matter. You as you are right now, you matter. So thank you so much as always, everyone, for joining me on the show. I truly appreciate you, and I will be back again next week. Have a good one, everyone.